file, open notebook. Here we need to open your class notebook. Okay, good. I'm opening your class notebook. Initially, I'll recap loops concept. After recapping loops concept, here I'll take you into the data structures concept today. And here I'll explain you a few more programs corresponding. Okay, good. Now what I'm doing is, initially I'll go to the file. Yeah, in this file, I'll go to loops concept. It's about strings. So here it is about conditional statements. After that, here we started. Yeah, after this, here we designed a basic calculator. After that, we started loops concept. So coming to the loops, first type of loops are while loop. So here, whatever the data structure, it might be functionally final. First, you should be familiar with the syntax. Here it is the syntax of while loop. So whenever you want to define a while loop, initially you need to initialize the value. First, you need to initialize the value. After that, you need to specify while keyword. We need to specify while keyword. After that, whatever the condition you want to specify, you can specify that condition. After the condition, we need to keep an indent. Sure, we need to keep an indent. This indent plays a crucial role in Python. It's like a bracket. It's like a open flower bracket in other programming languages. And here, indent also plays a crucial role. Indent is nothing but this tab space. So whenever you want to write some statement inside the loop or conditional block, always you should write that statement with the tab space. Here you should have tab space. Such kind of statements only consider inside this loop. Such kind of statements only consider the statements which are present inside the loop. And here I'm specifying same thing. Here increment or decrement also I'm specifying inside the condition also. While condition colon, after that inside the indent, whatever the statement you want to print, you can specify that statement. And to check this condition again, see, coming to the loops, here the major objective of loops is to check specific condition iteratively. To check specific condition iteratively means continuously. If you want to check some condition, here we need to use while loop. So for that, for the next time, with which value you want to check the condition, so we need to check the condition with a different value, right? For that, here we'll be having these. We can specify any different kind of thing, like if you want to print values in an incrementation sequence, if you want to print a numbers in a decrementation sequence, or if you want to print, if you want to check the condition for the next time based on any condition, whatever the thing you want to do, you can do that thing, guys. Here, after this, here it is the thing. These are the things which are present in the inside while loop. After this, if you want to execute some statement, irrespective of this conditional block, here we'll be having statement. And if you observe this statement, here I'm writing this statement irrespective of this while loop. See here, irrespective of this conditional block, this statement will be executed always. Here it is the syntax of while loop. If you remember the syntax, you can solve any problem on your own. But to get a more understanding, to go get more clarity on it, you need to practice more and more examples, so that it will be stay on your hand. Directly you can type without thinking. Okay, that much expert, you should be expertise that much. Okay, so here I wrote a basic program. Initially we need to initialize the value. I want to print a numbers in the range of 1 to 10. Here I said I equals to 1. After that, we need to specify while keyword. Here I'm specifying while keyword. After that, here we need to specify a condition. Here I specified condition like I less than or equals to 10. After that, I kept indent. After this colon, here whatever the statement you write, by default one indent will be created here. You should not keep this indent. By default, it will create an indent in the program. So here it is coming. Here I'm printing I value. Here I'm printing I value. After printing I value, here I'm using separator as a tab. I'm using /t as a separator here. After that, here I'm performing incrementation operation on the number. After printing I value, for the first iteration, I value will be 1. For the next time, I want to check this condition with 2. So for that, here I'm performing incrementation operation on I. It means here I'm incrementing I value. So initially we are having I value equals to 1. Now we are making I equals to I plus 1. That is nothing but we are making I equals to 2. Now this condition will be evaluated with 2 less than or equals to 10 and it will print 2. After that, it is separated with tab. After that value, you'll get a tab distance. After that, again, I will be incremented, like it will become 3. Like that, I value incremented till this condition fails. Till how many times this condition is satisfied, that many times you will get I value in this output window. Okay, it's about while loop, guys. And with this, we saw a lot of examples in the previous session. So if you follow the syntax, you can do any program on your own. We did a few programs corresponding to while loop. After that, I gave you a few assignment programs in it. After this, here you can see for loop. Next thing will be for loop. Yeah, last program might be perfect number program coming to while loop. Yeah, coming to the for loop. So for the for loop also we'll be having standard syntax. Is a very easy syntax, and here most widely used loop is a for loop only in a real time scenarios also. Why means here it will be executed faster and it will take very less lines of code. That's why most of the cases will use a for loop only. Even in the data structures also we can use this for loop very easily. I'll explain you that stuff after finishing data structures concept, and we'll see few programs related to the placement perspective also. Okay, good. In this, here what I'm doing is for variable in iterable object. Here I'm saying for variable in iterable object. Here it is the syntax of for loop. Initially we need to specify for keyword. After that, whatever the variable you want to specify, you can specify that variable. And here you need to specify iterable object. So iterable objects are nothing but data structures simply. Strings are iterable objects, list is an iterable object, tuple is an iterable object, etc. We did not come across through list and tuple. We'll discuss in today's session, at least a little bit theory, little bit basics of list and tuple. Okay. And here it is the syntax, guys. In this, whatever the statement you want to specify, you can specify that statement. Whereas coming to the integers or numbers, so from the number, we can't access in between characters. Let's suppose from 123, can we able to access 2 directly? We can't access. From 123, can we able to access first digit? No, it's not possible. So by using basic slicing, we can't access any character from the number, any digit from the number. So here, to consider a specific portion of the number or to consider sequence of numbers into your project, at the time, what we need to do is we need to convert these sequence of numbers in a iterable fashion. To consider integers or numbers in the form of iterable objects, here we'll be having range function. Coming to the range function, the syntax of range function is very similar to your basic string slicing. It's similar to your basic string slicing. Whereas coming to the string slicing, attributes are separated with colons. Whereas here, attributes or parameters are separated with comma. First, you need to specify starting value and you need to specify ending value next. After that, you need to specify step size. By default, if you don't specify step size or starting value, it will be, so if you don't specify starting value, it will start with a 0. Whereas we should specify ending value. It is a mandatory parameter in the range function. Okay, and here remember one more thing, starting index or starting value always included value, and coming to this ending value, it is always excluded value. And here by default step size will be +1. By default step size will be +1. And with this, we saw a lot of examples in yesterday's class. Same thing, whatever we did with the while loop, I shown you same thing by using for loop. To make you, so to, if we compare both the things, you'll understand like which one is easy like that. Now here it's still running, it's connecting with server first. Now it is giving output. Okay, till now, see, we saw the basic loops only. We did not went through the concept called nested looping. So we saw the nested conditions, but we did not saw nested loop. So coming to the nested loop, inside the loop, if we keep one more loop, that is said as nested loop. I'll explain in nested for loop, and I can practice nested while loop also. And if you got any troubles, let me know in the next class. Okay, good. Now we'll see nested for loop. How to use nested for loop. Coming to the nested for loop, what we need to do first here, whenever you want to work on nested for loop, nested looping means inside the loop, if you keep one more loop, that is said as nested loop. So here I'll define nested loop. So here I'll say for I in range of 5, simply I'll say 5. After that, here simply I'll say for j in range of 5. Now here what I'll do is, here I'll print I comma j values. Here I want to print I comma j values here, and yeah, I don't want to use any separator. Yes, it's perfect. Now for each and every iteration of for each and every iteration of ith loop, what I'll do is, first one iteration of I is finished. To make you familiar with it, to make you clear everything, I am taking this thing. So if you look this description, you'll understand a little bit in a little bit better way. Okay, good. Now I'll execute this portion. Yeah, good. So if you observe this output, here you can see what's happening here. What's happening here? See, initially we are taking first loop for I in range of 5. So by default syntax for this thing will be like, so it will start, see, I'm keeping in comments. By default, it will be starts with 0 and it will go till 5. So whenever this condition satisfied for one time, so for the first iteration, I value will be 1. For the first iteration, I value will be 0. So here it is 0. Whenever this condition is satisfied, if this 0 is in the range of 5 only, yes, it is in the range of 0 to 5, yes, this condition is true. Whenever this value is present in this sequence, yes, it is enter into our loop. While entering into this loop, it will check this condition. Whenever this condition is satisfied, it will enter into this block. In this block, again, we'll be having same thing. J value is also starting from 0 and it will go till 5. Okay, in both the cases 5 will be excluded only and 0 always included. For the first iteration, j value will be 0. For the first iteration, j value will be 0. Okay, like that, what here what happens is, whenever this ith condition satisfied for the first time, it will execute this inner loop till this inner loop is terminated. So here for the first iteration, j value will be 0, and here if you observe I value, it will remain same. So here it will remain same. So here coming to the all 5 iterations, 0 will be 0 only. That is I value is 0 only. So here we printed I comma j, right? Here first value will be 0 only. And coming to the j value, if you observe j value, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the next iteration, what happens here? See, before going to the next iteration, it will print this statement. It is present in the outer loop. So here it is printing this thing. One iteration of I is finished. See, in a one iteration of I, j will be executing till this condition fails. So coming to this thing also, same thing will happen. So here, yeah, someone is making noise. Any doubt? Any doubt to anyone? Let me know. If you have any doubts, let me know. Otherwise, keep your microphones in mute mode. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Now here what I am doing, here for the next iteration, I value will be incremented. Now whenever I value will increment 1, and this loop is executed one more time again. Like that, how many times you are entering into the inner block, that many times this inner loop will be executed. So that will happen whenever you take inner loop. With the one iteration of this ith loop, this jth loop will be executed for till this condition is terminated, it will execute. That is about this inner loop, guys. Okay, you should be very clear with it. It's a very important thing. Okay, so here one iteration of this thing, it will execute this jth loop for 5 times. Like that, here this ith loop will be executed for 5 times iteratively. In the 5 times, this loop also executed 5 times. Means, see here, one iteration of I, this will cause 5 iteration. Means, entire 5 iteration of this I, it will iterate 25 times. So it's about inner loop. And to make you familiar with it very clearly, yeah, good. See here, if you observe clearly how I am writing the statements. So if you want to write some statement inside the inner loop, we need to specify that statement inside the for loop by keeping tab distance. Whereas if you want to keep the statement with respect to this ith loop, you should specify that statement equals to this for, or you need to specify this statement with the tab distance to this for. This is a very important stuff, guys. If you don't follow the indents, you'll get a lot of errors while doing programming, and you'll get a lot of confusions. You'll get irritation on Python also sometimes. Okay, please be cautious with it. Now here what I'll do is, yeah, good. Where we are, yeah, good. I will see few patterns like a right angle triangle patterns. So here initially I want to print a right angle triangle pattern. To print right angle triangle pattern, what I want to do is, yeah, simply I'll take for loop for in range of, here I want to print a right angle triangle with a 6 rows. Let's suppose I want to print with a 5 rows. I'm specifying 6 will be excluded value, and simply I'll print for each and every line I want to print star space. After that, for each and every iteration I want to multiply with it I. Okay, I'm running this portion. So here it is, right angle triangle pattern, guys. Here what I did, here I did not perform anything. Simply I took one for loop. Here I'm taking for loop in the range of 1 to 6. After that, here I'm taking string. Here I'm taking string like star space. Here I'm taking string like star space. It is my string. After taking this star space, every time I am multiplying this string with character I. So here character I is nothing but it is a variable. It holds the value of this. So here for the first iteration, this I value will be 1. So for the first iteration, I value will be 1. Star space will be multiplied with 1. So star space multiplied with 1 means here it is star space only. For the next line, for the next iteration, it will goes for next line. So while going to the next line, in the next line, what we are having now, I value will be incremented with 2. So if it increments by 2, here will be having star space for the first time. Again, it is to multiply 2 times. This pattern should be repeat for 2 times. So here the star will be repeated for 2 times. Again, for the next time, I value will be incremented. Now, I value will become 3. So if increment I value again, now it will become star space, star space, star space. Means here we are printing I value for 3 times. Like that. So till this condition is satisfied, that many times iteratively it will multiply the star with I. That means that many times on that line, this pattern will be repeated. This star will be repeated. But here it is not a standard way. It's a logical way which we followed for printing odd numbers by using while loop as well as for loop. But here we'll be having standard way to print a patterns also. We'll see the standard ways of printing the pattern. I'll add a code block here. We'll see. Yeah, here I'll take first for loop for I in range of, here I'll take, simply I'll say 5. Similarly, here I'll say for j in range of I plus 1. I plus 1. So here the first loop, this loop corresponding for, say, first time specifying this loop. Yeah, I'll write the description so that you will ith loop for number of rows. To take number of rows, here I'm taking ith loop. After that, coming to the jth loop. So how many stars you want to take in each and every row or every column? So here we can say it's for columns. For columns, we'll take this loop. Okay, so it's about the thing. Now here finally we need to print a pattern, right? Here we need to print a pattern. Which pattern we need to print? We need to print a pattern with stars. So here we'll specify star space. I'm specifying a star space, and I want to separate each and every attribute with a space. So I want to print all the values in a same column. Here I want to specify separator like space. Yeah, if you specify space here, we need not to specify space, right? Yeah, here I want to print this pattern with the space separation. So here coming to this print, here I'm specifying this print in a Jth loop. Now what I want to do is I want to specify an outer loop. Here I'm specifying outer loop. Here I'm saying print J. Here I'm saying print. No. I don't want to print J. I'm printing empty print. I'm specifying empty. So here, if you look at this thing also, you are getting same pattern. I'll explain you tracing of this program. Here, what's happening. So before that, here we'll take this file as an user-defined input. N equals to int of input of enter number of rows. Enter number of rows. For a number of rows, yeah. Here also, we need to replace this 5 with the n now. Now we need to replace this thing with a n. So now here I'm executing this program. If you give n as 7, you'll get a pattern with 7 stars. So here you're getting 7 rows here. Like that, how many rows you want to get in a pattern, that much value you can specify in the rows. See here, to make you familiar with this program, I'll explain you tracing of this program. In this program, what we did, we initialized n value. So let's suppose in this example, we said n equals to 7. After taking n value, here we are taking first for loop, that is ith loop. So now ith loop values will be in the range of 1 to 7, sorry, 0 to 7. Okay, after that, sorry, it is not 10 to 7, 0 to 7. After that, we need to enter into Jth loop. So if you go to the Jth loop, here J values will be present in the range of, see here by default, if you did not specify anything means it will start with 0. And here 0 comma 0 I plus 1, which is nothing but for the first iteration I value will be 0, 0 plus 1, it will be 1. So after going to this Jth loop, what happens is here, after going to Jth loop, 0 comma 1. So 0 comma 1 means here it will print this pattern for only one time. So for the one time you will get a star, and here you will specify space in an ender. So here this loop will be terminated. Whenever this loop is terminated, it will execute the statement present in this outer loop. So in the outer loop, here I specified statement like empty print. Empty print means here, see here, remember this thing. Whenever you keep empty print means here it is for new line. For new line, always empty print corresponding to new line. So whenever you add empty print, your execution will be goes to the next line. Here it goes to the next line. So after going to the new line, here it is our execution will be comes down. After execution coming down, here again we need to take I value. For the next time I value will be 1, and whenever I value is in the range of 0 to 7, we need to enter into Jth loop. Now J loop values will be in the range of 0 to 2. So 0 to 2 means here 0 is which is less than 2, and 1 also which is less than 2. 2 will be excluded. Means this loop will be executed into 2 times. So for the first time it needs to print star space, and in the next time it needs to print star space. After printing star space, here our loop will be terminated. This inner loop will be terminated. After terminating inner loop, we need to print empty print. Empty print means we need to go for new line. After going to new line, again we need to increment I value. For the next time, I value will be 2. After making I value equals to 2, here we need to say, see here, we need to, we need to move to inner loop. So coming to this inner loop, now inner loop values will be 0 comma 3. 0 comma 3 means here it will be in this loop for 3 times, means it will print 3 stars, star space, star space, star space. Again it will goes for new line. So here we'll be having empty print, it will goes for new line. Like that iteratively this process happens. Okay, it's about printing right angle triangle pattern. So same thing we can print with the numbers also. We can print same pattern with the numbers also. To print with the numbers, here what I'll do is, I'll add a one code block here. While adding this code block here, what I'll do is, now here what I'll do is, in place of this star, now what I'll do is, I'll specify I. Yeah, here I'll specify J. It's asking us to enter number of rows. I'll get a pattern with the 5 rows. So here I got a row. 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. So like that, here you got this pattern. Here we got this pattern. See, here we got a pattern with a, see here if you specify 1 comma. Let's suppose if you start this loop with 1 comma, we'll specify number plus 1. Now it will give you a beautiful output. Now if you keep 5, if you enter 5 here, so here what happened? Yeah, coming to this thing, sorry, we need to consider this thing from 1, right? 1 comma I plus 1. Very good. Now we'll give 5. So now we got a beautiful pattern. So here it is starting with 1. For the next line, next time it is printing 1, 2. For the next time it is printing 1, 2, 3. Like that, it is giving numbers 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here if you keep a J here, so if you are printing J value here, it's giving J values. Whereas if you keep I value, you'll get a pattern like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, and 4, 4. Like that, you will get that pattern. Simple, guys. I'm copy pasting same code. See, I'm going a little bit faster. Coming to you, please try to trace this program line by line. While tracing this program, if you get any confusion, message me in WhatsApp group, or else remind me before coming to the next class so that I'll explain you tracing of these programs. These are very small programs. These are not complex programs even. You might saw these programs in other programming languages as of now, I think. Okay, good. Now what I'm doing is here, I want to replace this I with J. Sorry, J with I. Now I'll get a pattern which I said to you. I'll specify 5 here. Now I will get a pattern like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 5, 5. Is a right angle triangle pattern with the specific pattern of numbers. Let's suppose if you want to print a pattern of numbers. Let's suppose if you want to print a pattern of numbers, but in which order I want to print is, I want to perform this thing by performing addition. Like here, first I want to get 1. For the next time 1 plus 2, I want to get 3. For the next time 3 plus 2, I want to get 5. Like that, by summing of all the previous values. Not like that. Yeah, what I will do is, yeah, here I want to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that, I want to get such kind of pattern. To get that kind of pattern, what we need to do is simple. I'll copy paste same code again. Yeah, good. In this thing, what I'll do is, yeah, simply I'll initialize count equals to 0 first. After saying this, here whenever we enter into this loop, here what I'll do is I'll increment C plus equals to 1. I'll increment C value, and finally I'll print C value in this pattern. Here I'll give 5. Yeah, good. So here you can see the pattern. Here we got a pattern with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like that, we got a pattern. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's about right angle triangle pattern with a counting sequence. Like it's an increasing sequence of numbers. It's about patterns, guys. And here again, I'll come back to this loops concept while finishing, after finishing data structures concept. Here, now I'll enter into the data structures concept. So here I'll explain this data structures concept for just half an hour in today's session, and remaining briefly I'll explain you everything in the next class. So coming to the data structure, what do you mean by data structures first? Data structures. So you might be hear this words frequently everywhere. So the purpose of data structures is to store the huge amount of data in a structured manner. To store huge amount of data in a structured manner, we need to take help of data structure. In a simple words, we can say to store the data in a structured or organized fashion. So for that, we'll use data structures. Okay. So see here in the Python, we'll be having few built-in data structures. Those are, first one will be a list data structure. After that, we'll be having tuple data structures. After that, we'll be having set data structures. After the sets, we'll be having dictionary data structures. These are the different built-in data structures present in Python. Coming to this built-in data structures, we'll be having few similarities between these data structures. So coming to these data structures, first two data structures are similar, and coming to the next two data structures are a little bit similar, not exactly same, but we'll be having few similarities. Okay, so based on your requirement, we need to use specific data structure. And remember guys, coming to the real-time scenarios, coming to Python, whenever you want to store a data in a structured or organized manner, we'll use list data structure for 80% of cases. And coming to the next, will be use a string data type. Most of the cases in a real-time problem will use strings as well as list data structures synonymously. Not synonymously, most widely we use these two data structures. And here I'll start with a list data structure first. I'm keeping heading like list data structure, and I'll write a few points corresponding to list data structures. If you are remembered string, so anything is specified in a single quotations or double quotation, that will be a list data structure, right? Whereas coming to this list data structure here, first point is anything is specified in square brackets. Anything is specified in square brackets. Anything is specified in square bracket will be said as list data structure. And coming to this list data structure, guys, if you are familiar with a C language or if you are familiar with a Python, that could be okay, but you should not familiar with those languages. There will be having data structure called arrays. So here, coming to the definition of arrays, collection of homogeneous data types. You might be familiar with it. Collection of homogeneous data types means homogeneous means same kind of data types. To store same kind of data types at the specific location, we'll use concept called arrays. Whereas coming to the list, coming to the Python list, it is similar to arrays only, but here we'll be having more advantages compared to that array. Here in the list, we can specify multiple data types also. I'll explain you each and everything very clearly. And coming to the second point corresponding to the list is here list attributes are separated with commas. List attributes. Don't be get confused. Attributes are nothing but values. List attributes are values will be separated with commas. Each and every value will be separated with comma. Okay, it is about second point. And coming to the third point corresponding to this list data structure is these are mutable or changeable data types. It means once you define the content inside the list, we can modify the internal content present in the list. Once we define the content in the list, we can modify the internal content present in the list. That's why these are said as mutable or changeable data types. And coming to the next point corresponding to this thing here, these are ordered collection of items. I'll prove all these points, don't worry. These are ordered collection of items. It means while defining the list, in whatever the order you specify the parameters, on the same order, it will consider all those values. That's why these are said as ordered collection of items. And coming to the next point, guys, here, yeah, we'll be having list function. List is a typecasting function which is used to convert other data types in the form of list. So here first point is anything is defined in a square brackets, that will be said as list data structures, and list parameters or values or attributes are separated with commas, and these are mutable or changeable data types. Means once you define the values in the list, you can change the internal content present in it. That's why these are said as mutable or changeable data type. And these are ordered collection of items. In whatever the order you specify the parameters, it will return the output in a same order. And coming to the next point, here we'll be having one more point. These are heterogeneous, heterogeneous or compound data types. Compound data types. So in an interview, if you face a question like, can you please tell me about list? What will you say? So collection of items which are specified in a list, which is said as list. And here list attributes are separated with commas, which are specified in a single quotations. Once you define the list, we can able to modify the internal content present in the list. That's why these are said as mutable or changeable data types. And here these are also said as ordered collection of items. Why means once you specify the elements in a sequence, whenever you access the values also, it will give the values in a same sequence. That's why these are said as ordered collection of items. These are few points corresponding to list data structure. And coming to the list data structure also, here also we can perform slicing. And coming to the slicing, it's very similar to our string slicing only. I will see that thing next. First, we'll see the basics. Like we'll define a list and we'll check whether it is a list or not, and it's following all these properties or not. We'll check that. So here it is a theory. Now here I want to define one list in a square brackets. Initially I'll specify 1. After that I'll specify 2.6. After this I'll specify my name. After that here I'll specify what I'll specify. Yeah, I'll specify some complex number 2 plus 3j. Now I'm running this portion. So here, if you specify different data types in the list also, if you specify different data types in the list also, it's accepting all those values. It's accepting all those values. Now we'll be having type function, right? Now if you observe type of L, it will give list. So whenever you observe type of list, it is giving output like list. So whenever you observe the type of list, it is considered as list. Means anything is specified in a square bracket, that will be said as a list. And if you observe the content of list, guys, see here, in whatever the order I specified the element, while grabbing the values from the list also, I am getting the values in same pattern. See, at the first location 1 only appeared, at the second location 2.6 only appeared, at the next location Jacob only appeared. In whatever the order you are specifying the elements, on that order only you are getting while observing the output also. That's why these are said as ordered collection of items. And here coming to this thing, here it is an heterogeneous or compound data type. Why means here inside the list I specified integer value, floating point value, string, as well as complex numbers. Though it is not giving any error, means from this we can understand inside the list we can specify different data types. That's why these are said as mutable or changeable data types. So here also, guys, we can access each and every parameters by using their indexes. We can access each and every parameter by using their indexes. In this list, 1 will be presented 0th index, 1 will be presented 0th index, and 2.6 will be presented first index. See here, the indexes are values are here. I'm separating comma separated values. I'm separating each and everything with a comma. Now here what I'll do is, yeah, just wait a minute, guys. Yeah, good. Yeah, will continue now. Okay, good. Okay, sorry for the interruption. I got a call in between. Okay, good. Now here, if you want to access 1, so here indexing will be starts with 0. You can access this one with a 0. And here list attributes are separated with commas. Here you can access 2.6 with a index 1. And similarly we'll be having Jacob next. This Jacob can be, it is also a one attribute in the list. This entire thing will be accessible with index 2. Similarly, here we'll be having 2 plus 3j. We can access this 2 plus 3j with the index 3. Similarly, we can access this character by using negative indexing also. If we use negative indexing, we can access this thing by using -1. And we can access this thing by using -2. Similarly, we can access this thing with a -3. Okay, as you're already familiar with the positive and negative slicing in the strings, here also same thing, guys. Don't be get confused. Okay, but here the parameters or attributes are separating with the commas. Okay, so here it is about the thing. Here it is, I wrote on default indexes of each and every character. Now in this list, I want to access the value which is presented first index. Here I'm saying L of 1. So whenever you say list name in the slicing bracket, if you specify 1, it will give you the value 2.6. Now what I want to do is I want to modify the value which is presented L of 1 equals to, I want to keep 55 here. Now I'm running this post. Now it's not giving any error. Whereas same thing, if we do on a strings, what it gives? It will give you an error. Means strings are immutable data types. We can't modify the internal content present in the string. Whereas coming to the list, these are mutable or changeable data types. That means we can modify the internal content present in the list. So whenever we are saying L of 1 equals to 55, in the content of a list here, at the first index, previous value will be replaced with 55. Means here we can able to modify the internal content present in the list. That's why these are said as mutable or changeable data types. Now we'll be having list typecasting function, right? The purpose of list typecasting function is to convert any other data type in the form of list, or else to create an empty list also we'll use this list typecasting function. To create empty list also we'll be having list typecasting function. Sir, won't the number 1 will get in way of index 1? I'm not getting your question. See here, indexing will be starts with 0. If you remember basic string slicing or string indexing, indexes will be starts with 0. This 1 will be present at 0th index. This 1 will be present, so this 2.6 will be present at first index, and this Yakub will be present at second index. You should be very clear with it. Indexing always starts with 0, whatever the data structure it might be. If you want to access 1 only, at the time you need to specify L of 0. So here if you say L of 0, now we will get a 1. It's about the thing. Now here list is a function which is used to create an empty list or to typecast any other data structure in the form of list data structure. Now if you observe the content of A, it will give you an empty list. Similarly, if you observe type of A, it will give you list. So here to create an empty list, here we'll be having list typecasting function. Hence, I proved all the points corresponding to this list data structure, I think. Apart from slicing, I covered everything. I'll go to slicing later. Okay, it's about the thing. Yeah, it's about the basics of list. Now here similarly, list and tuple data structures are very close to each other. Now initially I'll explain you theory corresponding to the tuple data structure. Initially I'll cover theory corresponding to the tuple data structure. Okay, to clear, yeah, I'll keep title like tuple. Coming to the tuple data structure, first point is here anything is defined in parenthesis. Anything is defined in parenthesis, that will be said as a tuple data structure or comma separated value. Comma separated value without any brackets. Comma separated value without any brackets also considered as tuple data structure. I'll prove you that thing. I'll show you that thing. Don't worry. Okay. And coming to the next thing, coming to the second point here, tuple attributes also separated with a comma. Same point. I'm not writing that. Simply I'm specifying comma. Tuple attributes also separated with commas. After that, coming to the third point, these are immutable or not changeable data types. Immutable or not changeable data types. And coming to the next, these are also ordered collection of items only. These are also ordered collection of items only. And coming to the next point, so here these are also heterogeneous or compound data types only. Heterogeneous or compound data types only. And after that, if you want to convert any other data type in the form of tuple, or else if you want to create an empty tuple, at the time we'll be having tuple typecasting function. Tuple is a typecasting function which is used to convert any other data type in the form of tuple. See guys, coming to the real-time scenario. So if your requirement is to store huge amount of data, if your objective or your requirement is to store huge amount of data, at the time we need to use a list data structure. Whereas if you want to store the data which is for security purpose, If you want to store the data which is for security purpose, there you need to use tuple data structure. That is the thing you should be cautious with it. To store huge amount of data, list is a very convenient and comfortable one. But in the list, if you store the data in the form of list, anyone can manipulate the data. Whereas if you initialize, if you store the data in the form of tuple, it's a secured one. No one will manipulate the data. That is the thing. Yeah, I will see these points and we'll go to that thing and we'll go to these concepts very briefly in the next session. Okay, good. Now, initially, I'll define few values in a tuple. Now here I'll say t equals to, here I'll specify few parameters like a 1, 5.3, comma, after this here I'll specify one string like Python, and here I'll specify one more string like data science. Let's suppose I specified these values in a tuple. Now here I want to observe type of t. If you observe type of t, here it is giving tuple. It means anything is specified in this bracket that will be considered as tuple. As I already told you, if you specify comma separated values also, by default it will be considered as tuple. Here I'll specify my name again. Now if you observe content of A, it will give in a parenthesis. So here it means it is a tuple data structure only. If you observe type of A, it will give tuple. So here, remember, anything is specified in the parenthesis with the comma separated values, we said as a tuple data structure. Or else, if you specify values with the comma separation directly without keeping any brackets also, that will be considered as tuple data structure. Now here, what I want to do is I want to access any element from the tuple. Simply, however, how we access the values present in a tuple, in a similar way, how we access values in a list, in a similar way, we can access tuple attributes also. Let's suppose here I'm saying tuple of 2. So whenever you say tuple of 2, it's giving Python. Now I want to modify the value which is presented second index. I want to replace Python with a machine learning. I want to replace Python with machine learning. So whenever you replace Python with machine learning, here you will get an error. Whenever you replace Python with a machine learning, you will get an error. Which error you are getting? Tuple object that does not support item assignment. Tuple object does not support item assignment. Sir, in which cases we should use tuple? So whenever you want to store the data for security purposes, at the time we'll use tuples. So if you store the data in the form of tuple, we are unable to modify the data in the program. So everywhere, so we can use same data only. Whereas if you need a data, if you want to manipulate the data in the future in the program, at the time you need to store the data in the form of list. Okay. Yeah, good. Now, if you are trying to modify the internal content present in the tuple, it's giving an error. It means these are said as immutable or not changeable data types. Whereas if you observe the content present in tuple, it will give in a same order. It will give in a same order. It means these are also ordered collection of items only. Now here I want to observe, I want to apply tuple typecasting function and I want to store that result in T. Now here I want to look at T. So if you look at T, it's giving empty bracket. Now fine, what I'll do is I'll see type of T. So if you observe type of T, here it will give tuple as an output. It's about tuple typecasting function. After this, here we'll be having what will be having? What are left over? Yeah, nothing is left over. Yeah. Now actually I want to explain you something. I forgot what is it. What is it? Yeah, good. It's about a tuple data structure, guys. Yeah, we'll go briefer into this concept tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we'll see a lot of programs corresponding to, yeah. In tomorrow's session, initially, we'll see how to perform slicing on a list, and that is nested list. After performing slicing on nested list, we'll see set and dictionary data structures. After finishing set and dictionary data structures, we'll see how to iterate through the data structures by using for loop. After finishing that concept, what I want to do is I'll explain you comprehension concept. That is a very advanced concept. By using that comprehension, we can perform operations very easily on the data structures. So with this, I'm concluding for today, guys. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can ask me now. Does anyone have any doubts? B161209. Any doubt?
Sir, will you explain once again nested for loop?
Nested for loop. Who is that? Who is that?
Monica.
Heterogeneous means, yeah. Heterogeneous means, see here, homogeneous means same kind of data. Whereas coming to heterogeneous means inside the data structure, if you specify multiple data types. Here, if you consider this list, here I specified integer value, floating point value, string, as well as complex number. Here I specified multiple data types in a single list. These are said as heterogeneous or compound data types. Whereas coming to the homogeneous data types, we can specify only integers here. Or we can specify only all floating point values only here. Such kind of things are said as homogeneous data types. Mm, Explain difference between tuple and a list. So the coming to the difference between list and tuples, list attributes are specified in a square brackets and which are mutable data types. Whereas coming to the tuple, these are specified in a parenthesis or direct comma separated value. And here the difference is those are immutable or not changeable data types. And coming to this interview perspective, in an interview coming to the tuple, you will face this question. I forgot that thing only. Okay, good. So the thing is, yeah, if you specify a equals to 1, what will be the data type of a? So in an interview, you'll face this kind of question. If you say a equals to 1, if you specify 1 in a parenthesis, what will be the type of a? So if you observe type of a, it will give integer as an output. Remember, guys, it's a very, very important interview question. And even if you observe the content of a also, it will give 1 only. So if you specify some value in a parenthesis without using any commas, that will be considered as whatever the data present in this value, that will be considered as that data type. If it is 1, it will give data type as integer. If it is floating point value, so if you specify 1.5 here, it will give data type as float. So whatever the data type you specify here, it will give that thing as an output. Whereas if you want to get tuple as an output, we should have at least 1 comma in this bracket. So let's suppose if you specify 1 comma, now it will be considered as a tuple data structure. If you say type of B, now it will give you output like tuple. Remember, guys, it's a very important thing. Whereas coming to the list, we should not specify any commas, anything. So if you don't specify any commas also, it will be give. Sorry, yeah, again I specified in a parenthesis only. We need to specify in a square bracket, right? Now here I'll specify 1. Now it will be, if you observe type of C, it will give list only. That is the thing. You should be very clear with it. Okay. So thank you so much. With this, I'm concluding for today. One more question someone asked. Can tuple be converted into list? Yes, we can convert tuple in the form of list and list in the form of tuple. And we can convert any other data type in the form of another data type. For that purpose only, we'll be having typecasting functions. We saw list typecasting function, right? Which is used to convert list in the form of tuple. So we'll see that thing in the next class. Or else I'll do you that thing now itself. Yeah. Now here we'll be having T. We observe the content present in T. Yeah, it's empty bracket one. Yeah, we'll see the content. Yeah, and now I'll define one list, 1 comma 2 comma. Yeah, here I'll take Yakub. Now here it is a list, right? Now what I'll do is I'll say T equals to tuple of A. Now what I'm doing is I'm typecasting this list A in the form of tuple. Now if you observe content of T, it will give you a tuple. So similarly, if you want to convert this tuple in the form of list, simply we can say L equals to the list of T. Again, I'm converting this tuple in the form of list. If you observe content of L, it will give you a list. It's about the thing. So here by using this typecasting function, we can convert list in the form of tuple as well as tuple in the form of list. Okay, good. Thank you. See you in the next session. Bye bye.